Mark is a high-achieving project manager who's built a solid reputation in his industry. Known for his attention to detail, work ethic, and commitment, he consistently meets deadlines and exceeds expectations. But lately, despite his skills and years of experience, Mark has noticed a recurring problem. Whenever he faces a high-stakes situation, a major presentation, an interview, or a pivotal meeting, he finds himself unable to bring his best to the table. It's as if, when it truly matters, his focus wavers, his confidence dips, and all his preparation seems to unravel. No matter how much he practices, Mark feels the stress of these big moments, impacting his ability to perform at his peak. He'll spend hours rehearsing, double-checking his work, and anticipating every possible question. Yet when the time comes, he finds himself derailed by nerves and self-doubt. He feels frustrated and stuck, knowing he's capable of more, but unable to reach his full potential in the moments that matter most. One afternoon, while browsing online, Mark comes across a book that catches his attention. Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters Most by Dana Sinclair. The title speaks to him immediately, addressing exactly what he's been struggling with. Driven by curiosity and a desire to finally get past these obstacles, he dives into the book. From the very first pages, Mark feels understood. Dialed In is structured around practical strategies, referred to as resets, designed to help people like him perform at their best under pressure. It's not just about preparation or skill. It's about controlling focus, building resilience, and finding clarity when stress is at its peak. Each reset Sinclair offers isn't just theoretical advice. It's an actionable step toward cultivating the mental and physical readiness to excel in high-stakes moments. As Mark reads on, he's introduced to the core concept of dialing in. Sinclair describes this as the state of being fully present and grounded in the task at hand, especially in moments of high pressure. It's about aligning his mental, emotional, and physical energy so he can meet challenges head-on with confidence. Inspired, Mark realizes that Dialed In may contain the missing pieces. He's been looking for to bridge the gap between his capabilities and his actual performance when it matters most. Eager to put these ideas into practice, Mark starts his journey, chapter by chapter, learning each reset that Sinclair has outlined. Each one builds on the last, helping him discover how he can shift his mindset, build resilience, and learn to thrive under pressure. For the first time, Mark feels optimistic, not only about improving his performance but about enjoying these high-stakes moments instead of dreading them. Chapter 1. High-Performance Triggers. In the first chapter, Sinclair introduces the idea of high-performance triggers as tools that anyone can harness to reach a peak mental state on demand. These triggers, small, specific actions, or environmental cues, have the power to shift a person's mindset and enhance focus, confidence, and resilience, especially during high-stakes moments. For Mark, this chapter is transformative. He realizes that peak performance isn't an unpredictable phenomenon but something he can cultivate through intentional, structured actions. Mark is encouraged to explore his own unique high-performance triggers by recalling moments when he felt completely in the zone, that immersive mental state where every distraction fades and he feels fully engaged. By examining these experiences, he learns that people often have specific cues or routines that lead to this state, even if they haven't consciously recognized them before. Identifying triggers. One of the key insights Mark takes away from this chapter is that high-performance triggers are highly individual. For some, triggers might be sensory, like listening to a favorite song, repeating a motivating phrase, or visualizing a positive outcome. For others, it could be a series of physical actions, like stretching or deep breathing to release tension and reset the mind. Mark realizes that his own triggers are linked to creating a controlled, organized environment. He reflects on past successes and identifies a few specific factors that consistently help him focus: a quiet workspace, calming background music, and well-prepared materials. By recognizing these elements, Mark begins to see that creating a high-performance Environment is less about luck and more about intention. He starts to view his routine as an active way to cultivate his best mindset, establishing an internal cue that signals his brain and body to get into a focused, high-energy state. For Mark, this process becomes a powerful shift in perspective, helping him feel less overwhelmed and more in control. Finding personal triggers. Sinclair guides readers to experiment with different triggers to determine what works best for them. This process involves trial and error, with Mark trying out various sensory and physical cues to see how they impact his mental state. He recalls a time when he felt completely focused before a major presentation. In that moment, he had taken time to organize his notes the night before, ensuring everything was easily accessible. Now, he makes it a ritual to thoroughly organize his notes and materials before each big meeting. In addition, Mark tests other cues, such as playing soothing instrumental music before he begins a presentation, and even setting a calming phone background to keep his focus centered when checking last-minute details. He finds that these small actions help create a mental boundary between preparation and performance, allowing him to step into each high-pressure situation with greater ease and confidence. As Mark experiments, he notes which triggers are most effective and builds a small, consistent pre-performance routine. This newfound awareness empowers him to actively influence his state of mind, turning each high-stakes moment into an opportunity to perform at his best. Rather than dreading the stress, he feels reassured knowing he can tap into his focus and calm on command. Takeaways. High-performance triggers act as on-demand tools to cultivate focus and calm, particularly valuable in high-stress situations. Identifying and personalizing triggers involves understanding when we feel our best and analyzing what conditions make that state possible. Building a pre-performance routine through triggers allows anyone to set a controlled and reliable mindset, empowering them to face challenges with a higher level of confidence. Mark finds that incorporating triggers into his daily routine is like flipping a switch for his brain. Instead of feeling reactive to stress, he becomes proactive, approaching high-pressure situations with a calm and collected mindset. The difference is subtle yet profound. Where he once felt the weight of performance anxiety, he now feels a new level of preparedness and empowerment. For Mark, this reset is the first step toward unlocking his full potential, no longer at the mercy of unpredictability, but supported by tools that bring out his best when it matters most. Through this first chapter, Sinclair shows that peak performance doesn't have to be a random occurrence. It's a state that can be accessed through deliberate, personal actions. Mark's journey of discovering his high-performance triggers lays the groundwork for him to handle whatever the day brings, giving him both the mindset and the strategy to thrive under pressure. This chapter opens his eyes to the possibility that every high-stakes moment can be met with calm and readiness, turning performance from a point of tension into a place of strength. Chapter 2 of Dana Sinclair's Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters Most, introduces the concept of managing inner dialogue, an essential component of performing well under pressure. For Mark, our high-achieving project manager, the idea of self-talk isn't new, but how much it affects his ability to perform is. Mark has always thought of self-talk as background noise, something he's aware of but hasn't considered controlling. However, Sinclair explains that managing our inner dialogue can be a game-changer in high-stakes situations, allowing us to channel calm, focus, and confidence when we need it most. The role of self-talk. One of the first insights Sinclair provides is how impactful self-talk can be on performance, particularly in moments of stress. Self-talk is essentially our internal monologue, the way we speak to ourselves about our abilities, experiences, and worth. Sinclair emphasizes that self-talk has a direct impact on our mental state and performance. The mind tends to respond emotionally to this self-talk, meaning that if it's negative, it can sow doubt and anxiety. On the other hand, a supportive, positive inner dialogue can bolster confidence, leading to better focus and composure. Mark reflects on how he often hears an inner voice questioning his abilities. Phrases like, "What if I mess up?" or "I'm not ready for this" play on a loop in his mind, particularly during high-stakes presentations. Sinclair points out that this kind of negative self-talk can create a psychological barrier to high performance by diminishing self-assurance. When we repeatedly tell ourselves we aren't good enough or that we'll make mistakes, the brain internalizes these fears, making them feel real and ultimately affecting our actions. To combat this, Sinclair encourages readers to actively engage with and manage their inner dialogue, transforming it from a source of anxiety into one of empowerment. This involves not only recognizing negative self-talk, but also consciously replacing it with affirming statements that emphasize capability and preparation. Reframing negative thoughts. One of the methods Sinclair suggests for managing inner dialogue is reframing. This means taking a negative thought and transforming it into a positive or neutral statement that encourages a more productive mindset. Sinclair explains that our brains are wired to respond to self-talk, whether positive or negative. So when we consistently reframe our thinking, it trains our brain to lean toward confidence rather than doubt. Mark recalls a pivotal moment in a presentation when he thought, "What if I mess up in front of everyone?" This thought spiraled, causing him to feel tense and unfocused. However, using Sinclair's advice, he begins to replace thoughts like, "I might fail," with phrases like, "I've prepared thoroughly and I'm capable," instead of being held back by "what if." Mark practices affirmations that center on his strengths, such as, "I know my material well," and "I have handled challenges before. I can handle this too." The more Mark practices reframing, the easier it becomes for him to redirect his thoughts whenever negativity arises. By regularly feeding his mind with affirmations, Mark strengthens his confidence and quiets his doubts. This approach doesn't eliminate the anxiety entirely, but it gives him a way to move forward with a calmer mind. Each time he reframes a thought, he reinforces a new pattern of resilience, setting a foundation that becomes easier to rely on in high-stakes scenarios. Building positive self-talk into a routine. Sinclair suggests that building a positive self-talk habit can make a noticeable difference in performance, particularly when it becomes part of a daily routine. Mark commits to a few minutes each day to focus on affirmations and positive statements, embedding them into his mindset. Over time, these daily affirmations become a sort of mental armor, reinforcing his self-belief so that when he does face challenging moments, his positive self-talk feels natural and genuine. Additionally, Sinclair encourages people to write down their affirmations, as the act of writing reinforces their power. Mark begins keeping a notebook with phrases that reinforce his strengths, such as, "I am competent and ready," or "I bring valuable insights." Reading through these statements daily provides a boost in confidence, reminding him of his capabilities and achievements. The physical act of writing these affirmations helps cement them in his mind, making it easier to recall them in moments of stress. Real-life application. Transforming fear into focus. Sinclair also highlights that managing inner dialogue is not just about quieting negative thoughts, but also about using self-talk to direct focus where it matters most. In Mark's case, instead of fixating on potential mistakes, he uses affirmations to focus on his preparation, his strengths, and his ability to adapt. This shift allows him to turn moments of doubt into opportunities for focus and preparation, building his mental resilience. For example, as Mark walks into an important presentation, he acknowledges the nervousness but chooses to channel his thoughts toward his strengths. "I know my material," he tells himself, "I am well prepared, and I've got this." Repeating such affirmations helps him transition from feeling anxious to feeling grounded and prepared. He's no longer consumed by fear, but rather guided by focus. Each time he practices this approach, his self-talk becomes increasingly aligned with his desired outcomes, transforming his nervousness into motivation. Takeaways for high-performance success. In this chapter, Sinclair introduces a powerful mental tool, managing our inner dialogue. For Mark, this technique represents a shift in how he approaches high-pressure situations, giving him an actionable way to take control of his mindset. Self-talk shapes our confidence and focus. What we say to ourselves can either build us up or bring us down. Being mindful of self-talk allows us to be intentional with our mindset. Replacing negative thoughts with empowering statements reduces anxiety. By reframing "what if I fail" into "I am prepared and capable," we shift our perspective from fear to resilience. Practicing positive self-talk consistently builds confidence. When affirmations become a daily habit, they serve as mental reinforcement, creating a reservoir of self-belief that's easier to tap into during stressful moments. Chapter 2 of Dialed In shows that managing inner dialogue is not about erasing doubt altogether, but about redirecting it in a way that empowers us. For Mark, this chapter is the beginning of a transformation. It gives him tools to break the cycle of self-doubt and replace it with self-assurance. With each chapter, he's building a mental toolkit that will help him unlock his full potential, one reset at a time. In Chapter 3 of Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters Most, Dana Sinclair delves into mental resilience, emphasizing its role in handling pressure and setbacks effectively. For Mark, our ambitious project manager, this chapter is transformative as he learns that resilience isn't about avoiding obstacles, but about his ability to face and recover from them. Sinclair introduces strategies that help Mark build a mindset that embraces challenges and responds with adaptability, fostering a mental toughness that keeps him grounded even in high-stakes situations. Embracing imperfection. One of the most important lessons for Mark is learning to embrace imperfection. Sinclair explains that resilience isn't about never making mistakes, but about how we respond to them. This concept is a relief for Mark, who often feels pressured to be flawless in his work, leading to stress and self-criticism when he makes small mistakes. By shifting his focus from perfection to progress, Mark begins to view errors as learning opportunities rather than failures. Sinclair encourages him to reflect on mistakes in a constructive way, asking himself what he can learn rather than dwelling on what went wrong. This change in perspective allows Mark to recover more quickly from setbacks. Instead of letting a small error derail his entire presentation, he learns to pause, adjust, and move forward. This shift reduces his anxiety around mistakes and improves his overall performance, as he's less likely to spiral into self-doubt. By accepting that imperfection is a natural part of growth, Mark strengthens his resilience and becomes more adaptable in high-pressure situations. Practicing mindfulness and grounding. To further build resilience, Sinclair introduces Mark to mindfulness exercises, such as deep breathing and grounding techniques, which are especially helpful for staying centered during moments of high stress. For Mark, mindfulness is a new concept, but he quickly sees its benefits as he incorporates it into his routine. Sinclair explains that mindfulness allows us to stay present and focused, preventing our minds from becoming overwhelmed by worries about the past or future. In high-stakes scenarios, like important meetings or presentations, Mark finds that grounding himself through deep breathing helps him feel more in control. Taking a few moments to breathe deeply before a big presentation or difficult conversation calms his nervous system, reducing anxiety and helping him approach the situation with a clear mind. Over time, this practice becomes a powerful tool for Mark, enabling him to respond calmly and thoughtfully even when things don't go according to plan. Developing a resilient mindset. Beyond these techniques, Sinclair emphasizes that mental resilience is a mindset that can be cultivated over time. It involves not only bouncing back from setbacks, but also developing an outlook that sees challenges as opportunities for growth. Mark learns that the way he interprets events can impact his resilience. If he views setbacks as personal failures, he's more likely to feel discouraged. However, if he sees them as part of the process of improvement, he can use them to build his skills and increase his confidence. Sinclair encourages Mark to adopt a growth mindset, which involves seeing effort as a path to mastery rather than something to avoid. This mindset shift transforms how Mark approaches his work and life, making him more open to challenges and less afraid of failure. He starts setting small goals to gradually increase his resilience, such as speaking up more in meetings or tackling difficult tasks he previously avoided. Each success reinforces his ability to handle future challenges, creating a positive cycle of growth and confidence. Takeaways. Chapter 3 of Dialed In provides essential tools for building resilience, which is invaluable for anyone facing high-pressure situations. Resilience is about how we recover, not about avoiding mistakes. By reframing setbacks as learning experiences, we can approach challenges with less fear and more curiosity. Mindfulness techniques strengthen focus and adaptability. Deep breathing and grounding exercises can help us stay present, making it easier to respond calmly and confidently to unexpected situations. A resilient mindset can be cultivated. By embracing a growth-oriented perspective, we build confidence in our ability to handle adversity, making resilience an accessible skill for everyone. For Mark, these practices transform his approach to high-stakes tasks, making him more adaptable and less stressed. Each technique strengthens his ability to perform under pressure, allowing him to move forward with greater confidence and clarity. Through Sinclair's guidance, Mark learns that resilience is a skill. He can develop one that will empower him to succeed even in the face of uncertainty. Chapter 4 of Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters. Most focuses on the essential role of preparation and highlights how going beyond typical methods can foster confidence and adaptability. For Mark, a project manager navigating a high-stakes environment, mastering these deeper strategies is transformative. Sinclair's guidance in this chapter helps Mark shift from a reactive approach to a proactive, resilient mindset, ultimately empowering him to handle pressure with greater poise. Beyond the basics, one key insight from Sinclair is that preparation extends well beyond simply knowing the content or topic at hand. Traditional preparation methods often involve reviewing material and rehearsing standard points, but Sinclair urges readers to anticipate and prepare for challenges that could arise unexpectedly. In Mark's case, he learns the importance of creating mock scenarios that mimic the unpredictable nature of high-stress situations. Instead of rehearsing his presentation in isolation, Mark recruits a friend to act as a skeptical audience member, posing difficult questions or distractions during his practice sessions. This added layer of preparation is about building flexibility and mental resilience. Practicing under conditions that simulate real-life challenges forces Mark to stay calm and focused, even when things don't go as planned. For instance, if he's asked an unexpected question in a live meeting, he's already rehearsed pivoting smoothly without panicking. Sinclair explains that by confronting potential difficulties in advance, Mark not only familiarizes himself with his material, but also becomes adept at managing curveballs with ease. This practice helps him develop what Sinclair calls stress inoculation, where he becomes gradually more immune to stress through exposure. Moreover, by simulating the high-stakes environment, Mark begins to build pre-performance rituals. He identifies small actions that calm his nerves and refocus his mind, such as taking a few deep breaths or visualizing a successful outcome before speaking. These rituals become his anchors, signaling to his brain that it's time to perform. Through this approach, Sinclair teaches Mark that confidence is not just about mastery of material, but about being prepared for the unexpected. Building confidence. Sinclair also underscores the importance of deliberate, detailed rehearsal. Instead of merely memorizing his talking points, Mark rehearses potential responses to various scenarios, including technical issues, time constraints, or audience reactions. He practices responding with confidence if a slide fails to load or if he's pressed for more details on a complex point. Sinclair's guidance helps Mark see that preparedness isn't about perfection. It's about building a mental framework for managing disruptions. Through this method, Mark's rehearsal goes beyond rote memorization. It becomes an immersive experience where he can anticipate and mentally walk through different situations. This type of rehearsal helps create a sense of psychological safety, making him feel more secure about his ability to navigate diverse situations. The repeated practice also builds muscle memory for his responses, so he can rely on them instinctively in the moment, without second-guessing himself. Sinclair describes this as mental mapping, where one mentally rehearses alternative pathways and solutions, making the real experience feel more manageable and predictable. Through these rehearsals, Mark starts to internalize responses to potential disruptions, building a sense of security and self-assurance. This assurance is key in shifting his mindset from anxiety to capability. By embedding a variety of responses in his preparation, Mark reduces the chances of freezing up in the moment or being thrown off by unexpected questions. Each rehearsal boosts his self-confidence, providing a foundation of readiness and stability. The cumulative effect is that Mark no longer sees high-stakes meetings as potential failures. He views them as opportunities to leverage his skills and showcase his readiness. Takeaways. Chapter 4 of Dialed In reshapes the way Mark views preparation by broadening it from content mastery to include readiness for challenges and uncertainties. Sinclair's approach highlights how well-rounded preparation builds a deeper sense of confidence, self-assurance, and control, which are essential for performing under pressure. The core lessons include preparation extends beyond content. Effective preparation requires anticipating both the expected and unexpected, allowing one to feel more equipped for high-stakes situations. Simulating real-life challenges builds adaptability. Practicing under simulated stress or disruptive conditions allows one to remain calm and composed. Increasing confidence. Rehearsing responses to potential disruptions fosters resilience. By mentally and physically preparing for various scenarios, one develops a mental toolkit that can be called upon in the heat of the moment. Through the strategies outlined in Chapter 4, Mark gains a deeper understanding of the true essence of preparation, which involves cultivating the flexibility, poise, and confidence necessary to perform well, regardless of circumstances. Sinclair's insights equip him with a holistic approach to preparation, helping him embrace challenges as opportunities to demonstrate his capabilities and adaptability. This shift from reactive to proactive thinking becomes the foundation for Mark's transformation as he continues his journey through Dialed In. Chapter 5 of Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters. Most is centered on staying physically dialed in. Dana Sinclair explores how physical wellness, through sleep, energy management, and exercise, acts as a critical foundation for high performance. Mark, now learning the effects of his daily habits on his mental and physical capabilities, finds that even subtle adjustments in his wellness routine can significantly impact his focus and resilience under pressure. Sleep and energy management. Sinclair begins by emphasizing the importance of quality sleep and effective energy management. Mark reads that sleep isn't just about rest. It's crucial for cognitive function, focus, and emotional balance. A lack of restful sleep can impair memory, reduce attention span, and weaken his problem-solving abilities. Sinclair explains that when we're sleep-deprived, we're more prone to stress and negative thinking patterns, which can hinder performance. Mark realizes that his irregular sleep schedule and heavy caffeine intake, especially later in the day, are creating a cycle of fatigue and overstimulation that impacts his mental clarity. As part of his wellness overhaul, Mark commits to a consistent sleep routine, aiming for 7 to 8 hours per night. He learns that maintaining a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends, helps his body regulate its internal clock, making it easier to fall asleep and wake up naturally. He also adjusts his caffeine habits, limiting intake to early morning hours to avoid sleep disruptions. Initially, Mark struggles with these changes, but over time, he begins to notice improvements in his energy levels and mental resilience throughout the day. The renewed mental clarity helps him feel more capable of handling high-pressure tasks without becoming overwhelmed. Sinclair underscores that energy management goes beyond sleep alone. It involves creating an energy rhythm in his day. Mark learns to implement small breaks between tasks, allowing his mind to reset and preventing burnout. These short breaks, whether for stretching, deep breathing, or a quick walk, act as mental resets that restore his focus and keep him from draining his energy reserves. By actively managing his energy, Mark finds he's more productive and better equipped to handle stress, making high-stakes moments feel less daunting. Exercise as a mental reset. Another powerful insight from Sinclair is the role of physical activity in mental resilience and performance. Exercise isn't solely about physical fitness. It's also a way to improve mood, boost focus, and build mental strength. Sinclair explains that physical movement releases endorphins, which naturally combat stress and promote a positive mindset. When Mark starts integrating short exercise sessions into his weekly routine, he discovers a significant boost in his mental clarity and stamina. Rather than overhauling his entire fitness routine, Mark starts small, adding a 15-minute walk during his lunch break or doing light stretching in the morning. He also incorporates exercises like jumping jacks or yoga stretches between meetings, which not only recharges his physical energy but also refreshes his mind. These brief activities provide a change of pace that helps him regain focus and stay motivated throughout the day. Sinclair notes that exercise doesn't have to be strenuous to have mental benefits. Even moderate activity can enhance mood, reduce stress, and promote resilience. Mark finds that his short, consistent exercise routines reduce feelings of overwhelm and make him feel physically and mentally prepared for high-stress scenarios. The cumulative effect is that, over time, he can concentrate longer and respond more flexibly to challenges. As Sinclair outlines, a resilient mind relies on a resilient body, and physical activity builds the stamina he needs to stay productive and focused, especially under pressure. Key takeaways. Sinclair's insights in Chapter 5 highlight the interconnectedness of physical wellness and mental performance. Through practical changes in sleep, energy, and exercise, Mark starts to see positive shifts in his focus, resilience, and overall confidence. The key lessons from this chapter include: physical health directly influences mental clarity and resilience. Consistent sleep, energy breaks, and regular exercise provide a foundation that supports high performance and stress management. Small, manageable changes lead to significant results. Adjustments in daily routines, such as optimizing sleep schedules or adding brief exercise, create a sustainable foundation for high performance. Exercise acts as a mental reset and resilience booster. Physical movement, even in short bursts, promotes mental strength, reduces stress, and helps sustain focus and energy for high-stakes tasks. By committing to these adjustments, Mark is not only investing in his physical health but also in his ability to stay dialed in and resilient in challenging situations. Chapter 5 encourages readers to view physical wellness as a cornerstone of high performance, equipping them with sustainable habits that improve both mental and physical endurance. Sinclair's approach emphasizes that preparing the mind to perform at its best starts with taking care of the body, setting up Mark for success as he continues his journey through Dialed In. Chapter 6 of Dialed In, Do Your Best, When It Matters Most, explores harnessing the power of visualization, a technique that Sinclair describes as mental rehearsal, to prepare the brain for successful outcomes. Visualization is a powerful tool that professional athletes, performers, and business leaders use to create a mental image of success before stepping into high-stakes situations. For Mark, this chapter becomes transformative as he learns how to harness visualization to reduce performance anxiety and build confidence for crucial moments. Creating a mental script. Sinclair begins by introducing the concept of a mental script. Visualization involves creating a vivid, detailed mental rehearsal of a task or event in which the individual imagines themselves succeeding. Sinclair explains that this isn't just wishful thinking. It's about creating a highly realistic mental picture of each step involved in performing well under pressure. Mark realizes that by practicing a mental script, he can better prepare for the challenges he might face, making these situations feel more familiar and less intimidating. For Mark, This mental script becomes a visualization exercise before an important presentation. He closes his eyes and imagines himself walking into the conference room, greeting colleagues, and beginning his presentation with calm and clarity. He visualizes his delivery as smooth and confident, his voice steady, and his thoughts organized. He even anticipates potential questions and imagines himself responding thoughtfully and confidently. By visualizing the audience nodding and showing positive reactions, Mark instills a belief in himself that he's capable and prepared. This practice also helps Mark identify specific actions or behaviors that contribute to his success, which he can focus on during the actual event. By the time he walks into the real presentation, it doesn't feel like an entirely new experience. His brain has already rehearsed this scenario, making it feel familiar. Sinclair explains that our brains don't always distinguish between vividly imagined events and real ones, so mental rehearsal builds a sense of confidence and readiness, reducing performance anxiety. A key benefit Mark experiences from visualization is a reduction in performance anxiety. Anxiety often arises from fear of the unknown or an exaggerated focus on what could go wrong. Sinclair explains that visualization directly addresses this by familiarizing the brain with success scenarios, making high-stakes situations feel less foreign. When we visualize ourselves succeeding, it's as if we're giving our minds a preview of what we want to achieve, which helps reduce the body's stress response when we actually perform the task. Mark finds this technique incredibly useful. Previously, his mind would be flooded with "what if" questions before major events. What if he forgets something important? What if his mind goes blank? Visualization helps redirect these thoughts. Instead of fearing what might go wrong, he mentally rehearses everything going right. Over time, this mental shift brings a calm confidence, as his mind begins to expect a positive outcome rather than fearing the worst. Sinclair highlights that visualization is not about ignoring potential challenges, but about creating a balanced perspective that combines confidence with preparation. If Mark anticipates tough questions, he doesn't just visualize himself being unbothered by them. He visualizes giving knowledgeable responses, demonstrating calm under pressure. This approach brings an added layer of resilience, because it allows him to be mentally prepared for the unexpected, rather than feeling blindsided. Lessons learned. The insights Mark gains from Chapter 6 reveal the potential of visualization as a practical tool for achieving high performance. Sinclair emphasizes that visualization is more than just picturing success. It's about mentally experiencing every aspect of the situation, from start to finish. Here are the core lessons Mark takes away. Visualization prepares the brain for success. By mentally rehearsing an event, Mark primes his brain to feel more at ease and familiar with the situation, which helps him perform naturally and confidently. Mental rehearsal decreases anxiety and boosts confidence. Visualizing a successful outcome reduces performance anxiety by removing the fear of the unknown. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, Mark focuses on what he's capable of achieving. Imagining obstacles builds resilience. By anticipating challenges and visualizing effective responses, Mark strengthens his ability to handle pressure. This proactive approach prepares him to adapt, no matter what surprises arise. In this chapter, Sinclair shows that visualization is a powerful way to mentally prepare for the situations that matter most, allowing Mark to turn anxiety into focus and fear into confidence. By practicing this regularly, he starts to see his mindset shift, becoming more grounded and less reactive to high-pressure moments. The visualization techniques he learns equip him to face challenges with a clearer, calmer mind, transforming his potential into a reality when it truly matters. In Chapter 7 of Dialed In, Do Your Best When It Matters Most, Mark begins to explore the profound concept of cultivating a growth mindset. This mindset, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, centers on the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, effort, and persistence. Sinclair builds upon this concept to show how Mark's journey toward high-performance success doesn't just rest on inherent talent or external achievements, but on a deep, ongoing commitment to growth, learning, and overcoming setbacks. The chapter delves into key ways Mark can shift his perspective, transform his relationship with failure, and learn to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as essential components of his success. Seeing setbacks as opportunities. One of the most powerful insights Mark gains from Sinclair's guidance is the idea that setbacks, mistakes, and failures should not be feared but embraced. For much of his career, Mark viewed setbacks as personal failures, something that would jeopardize his reputation or diminish his self-worth. In high-pressure environments like the corporate world, where success is often equated with flawless performance, this fear of failure can create a significant barrier to taking risks and achieving breakthroughs. However, Sinclair teaches Mark to view setbacks through a different lens, as opportunities for growth. Mistakes, in this new light, are seen not as indicators of failure, but as crucial stepping stones toward mastery. When Mark stumbles, rather than succumbing to self-doubt, he now questions, "What can I learn from this?" He reflects on the circumstances, analyzes what went wrong, and uses the insights to adjust his approach for the future. By embracing this mindset, Mark becomes more comfortable taking calculated risks. He understands that failure is not permanent. It's part of the process of refining his skills and learning new lessons. This shift in perspective allows him to move forward with greater resilience, knowing that every misstep provides him with the information necessary to succeed in the future. Sinclair underscores that this kind of mental flexibility is essential for maintaining long-term success, particularly in high-pressure situations. This shift in Mark's thinking is in alignment with the research on resilience and grit, which shows that people who view challenges as opportunities tend to perform better and are more likely to bounce back from adversity. Carol Dweck's work also highlights the importance of learning from failure and how those with a growth mindset tend to have a more resilient and adaptive approach to setbacks, focusing on progress over perfection. Another transformative shift for Mark comes when he learns to focus on progress rather than perfection. For many high achievers, the pursuit of perfection can be both motivating and paralyzing. Mark's desire to perform flawlessly often leaves him anxious and overly self-critical, which diminishes his ability to be fully present in high-stakes situations. Sinclair emphasizes that the pressure to be perfect can lead to burnout, decreased confidence, and poor decision-making, especially under stress. Instead of aiming for flawless performance, Sinclair encourages Mark to adopt a mindset of continuous improvement. Rather than fixating on achieving the perfect result in every meeting, presentation, or task, Mark now focuses on the small, incremental improvements he can make along the way. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to develop a new skill or deepen his understanding of a particular task. This approach allows Mark to release the anxiety that comes with perfectionism. Instead of constantly measuring himself against an idealized version of success, he sets realistic and achievable goals that keep him moving forward without the paralyzing fear of making mistakes. Sinclair's approach aligns with research in psychology that shows that perfectionism can undermine performance by increasing anxiety, reducing creativity, and making people hesitant to take risks. By focusing on progress, Mark also learns to appreciate the journey rather than just the outcome. Each task, no matter how big or small, becomes an opportunity to learn and grow, which in turn builds his confidence and sense of accomplishment. This shift in mindset not only reduces stress but also enhances Mark's overall satisfaction with his work and life, celebrating small wins and embracing challenges. As Mark applies the principles of a growth mindset, he begins to celebrate small wins. These may be minor improvements in his communication skills, a more effective team collaboration, or simply feeling more confident during a presentation. Each of these moments is recognized as part of his broader journey, reinforcing the idea that growth is not just about big achievements, but about continual progress. Sinclair encourages Mark to embrace challenges as part of the learning process. When faced with a daunting task, Mark now sees it as a chance to grow, rather than something to fear. For example, if Mark is assigned a high-stakes project, rather than worrying about the potential for failure, he takes it as an opportunity to expand his knowledge and refine his skills. By approaching each challenge with the belief that he can learn from it, Mark feels less stressed and more empowered to take on new and increasingly complex tasks. This process of embracing challenges and learning from them is deeply connected to developing mental resilience. Mark realizes that each time he pushes himself out of his comfort zone, he builds the resilience necessary to handle future stressors. This is a crucial aspect of high performance: the ability to stay engaged, adapt to new circumstances, and bounce back stronger after each setback. The role of feedback in a growth mindset. Mark also learns to seek out and embrace feedback as an essential component of his growth. In the past, Mark may have been hesitant to ask for feedback, fearing criticism or rejection. However, Sinclair teaches him that feedback, whether positive or negative, is a powerful tool for growth. Rather than viewing feedback as a judgment of his abilities, Mark begins to see it as a valuable source of information that can guide his improvement. Sinclair explains that those with a growth mindset actively seek out feedback because they understand that it helps them get better. Mark now views feedback as a necessary part of his development, using it to refine his approach and correct course when needed. By embracing this feedback loop, Mark accelerates his growth and develops a deeper sense of self-awareness, which further strengthens his confidence and performance. Lessons learned from a growth mindset. Mark's experience with adopting a growth mindset leads to several profound lessons that will continue to shape his approach to work, life, and challenges. 1. Learning from setbacks. Mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to learn and grow. Mark becomes more resilient in the face of adversity, viewing challenges as a natural part of the journey. 2. Focusing on progress over perfection. By prioritizing progress, Mark reduces stress and anxiety. Each small improvement contributes to his overall success, making his path forward more fulfilling and achievable. 3. Building resilience through challenges. Mark learns that every challenge is an opportunity to build mental toughness and resilience. By embracing discomfort and pushing through difficulties, he grows stronger. 4. The importance of feedback. Mark now actively seeks feedback, using it to refine his skills and continuously improve. This feedback loop accelerates his development and strengthens his performance. By adopting a growth mindset, Mark not only enhances his performance under pressure, but also creates a more sustainable and satisfying path to success. Sinclair's teachings help Mark shift his focus from fearing failure to embracing it as an essential part of his growth process. As a result, Mark becomes more adaptable, resilient, and confident, ultimately achieving higher levels of success both in his career and in his personal life. This chapter serves as a powerful reminder that success is not about perfection, but about continual growth, learning, and improvement. Closing reflections. Mark's transformation. As Mark reflects on his journey through Dialed In, do your best when it matters most, it's clear that the combination of practical strategies and mental shifts has radically transformed his approach to high-stakes moments. Armed with a toolkit designed to optimize performance under pressure, Mark no longer feels overwhelmed when faced with challenging situations. He is now able to bring his best self to critical moments, whether it's in a meeting, a presentation, or a pivotal conversation. Sinclair's principles have become part of Mark's everyday routine, and each strategy builds on the other, creating a powerful foundation for consistent high performance. Let's break down how these key strategies have come together to revolutionize Mark's approach to challenges. 1. Personalized performance triggers. Mark now knows how to activate his flow state quickly and effectively. Through identifying his unique high-performance triggers, such as a quiet space or calming music, he's able to slip into a heightened state of focus whenever needed. This ability to access his best self on demand has proven to be invaluable in high-pressure situations. enabling him to perform at his peak when it counts most. 2. Refined self-talk. Negative self-talk was once a significant barrier for Mark, but through Sinclair's approach, he's learned how to replace limiting thoughts with empowering affirmations. By shifting his inner dialogue, Mark has bolstered his confidence, reduced anxiety, and increased his overall mental resilience. He no longer allows self-doubt to undermine his performance, and instead, he speaks to himself as a capable, skilled individual ready for any challenge. 3. Mental resilience. Mark now understands that resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks, but about bouncing back from them gracefully. He embraces imperfection as part of the learning process, no longer allowing minor mistakes to derail his focus. His ability to stay grounded, even in stressful situations, has improved dramatically, and mindfulness practices have helped him maintain control and adapt to changes in real time. 4. Strong preparation. Mark no longer underestimates the importance of preparation, but he has expanded his approach to include rehearsing under stressful, unpredictable conditions. By practicing with a friend or simulating challenging scenarios, Mark is able to anticipate potential hurdles and feel more confident. When faced with the unexpected, his preparation now extends beyond the basics, ensuring he's ready for whatever comes his way. 5. Healthy lifestyle. Mark's physical wellness plays a critical role in his performance. With improved sleep habits, mindful energy management, and regular exercise, Mark has increased his mental clarity and resilience. These small but significant changes have made him more focused and adaptable, ensuring he has the physical energy to support his mental performance during high-pressure moments. 6. Growth mindset. Perhaps the most profound shift for Mark is his adoption of a growth mindset. Rather than fearing failure, Mark now embraces it as an opportunity to learn and grow. He's shifted from a perfectionistic mentality to one that values progress over perfection. This shift has made him more comfortable taking risks and seeing setbacks as part of his personal and professional development. He no longer feels constrained by the pressure to be flawless, allowing him to stay engaged and focused on continuous improvement. A complete toolkit for high performance. The strategies Mark has applied from Sinclair's book have equipped him with a comprehensive toolkit for performing under pressure. Through deliberate practice and mental recalibration, Mark has learned how to manage his thoughts, prepare for the unexpected, stay physically resilient, and adopt a mindset of continual growth. Each of these tools works in tandem, ensuring that Mark not only succeeds when it matters most, but also continues to improve, adapt, and thrive. For anyone looking to bring their best self to the moments that matter, Dialed In offers a roadmap to success. By following Mark's journey and applying the strategies outlined in this book, anyone can learn how to master their performance, reduce anxiety, and approach high-stakes situations with confidence and clarity. Mark's transformation serves as a powerful reminder that, with the right tools and mindset, anyone can thrive under pressure and unlock their full potential.